All right, YouTube. I've done a couple other videos about my process of solo role playing, and I think I've come up with another way to go about it, another approach that, I mean, right now it looks pretty complicated, but it's a lot less complicated than my other videos that I've demonstrated. This, and then in my process of trying to come up with a way of solo playing published role playing games, I've actually developed my own system, and I'm just using pre published role playing systems as just inspiration or like a guideline to follow, and just using aspects from those published systems as the equipment that a character can use, or the types of characters that are available, or the encounters that could happen. But everything else is actually I've kind of eventually just developed myself. So I'm just going to sorry. I'm just going to go through the tools that I'm using, and then I'll do a demonstration of a round, and it just try to explain my process in the course of the demonstration of play. But first, I'll show you what I've been using. So the game is going to be primarily based off of like D6s, and I use other dice occasionally for other random situations. I've made these little mats. The first mat here represents the characters that are in play. The playing character, my main character, and NPCs that could join in the game. And I just try to like limit it to 3 NPCs at the most. And if there's any other characters that come into play, they're not as important, or they're not essential really to the game. They're just there for ambience. But if the main character dies, or anything happens to that main character, then the game's over. And the other mat here represents the enemies that are in play for that round. This mat here shows where I'm at for the game. And, okay, yeah, I'm using these fate coins as markers that will represent experience gained that the character has won during the game. So the course of the game is broken down into rounds, scenes, and acts, and with plot progressions that could happen in between all of this. For a round, these dice represent what I'm going to be using for my randomizers, or the events that could come into play. In one scene, I use these dice to represent the weather and the conditions of that for that scene. Like this, for example, it's cloudy, there's very little sun, and my characters need to eat sometime through this scene. If not, then they can suffer consequences. The act, so every time it goes up to 6, so a round after a deck is played, a round increases. When the round hits 6, then the scene increases. When the scene increases to 6, then the act increases. And when the act comes to 6, then the game is done. Like if I haven't accomplished any of my goals, then the game is lost. Or I try to just see how many goals that I've reached at that time. It's kind of like my counter to get to the next game or whatever. I'll explain that as I go. And this is just dice that will represent during. I'm sorry, I'm breaking up with my speech. I'll edit that out. Okay, back to it. So, and then this pad here, this is my event deck. So in the event deck, there will be characters that are in play, and plus random events that could be triggered that will either benefit the characters or cause complications or progress the story. Here is the chaos track. So it represents how many events will be added to this deck on top of like the amount of characters that are in play. It'll increase and decrease during the course of the game. It decreases if there's a failed trigger, or increases when there's something positive happens. This pad here represents the action. So I've used these dice. They came from some other game, but like I'll use like a brain represents that the character has found a resource, or they can build up a surge. Feet will represent movement or an action, like either fighting or any other kind of action that I need to do. And an explosion symbol represents that the character can perform a special action that only they can do, like a skill. So green represents the character in play. They can automatically do this. And then the two other actions, the red represents the opponent, like whatever opponent's in play. That's their turn. And the yellow represents the second action that the character in play can do, only if it's triggered. Down here too, I have like, so surges I'll use these orange cubes to represent a surge. And they can benefit the character by increasing chances to hit, or increasing skill checks to be met. Black represents the enemy in their surge, and if it gets right up to the end, then all enemies in play can attack or do an action. But they can also spend these to increase their chances to hit or defense. Resources are what the NPCs and character can grow and find throughout the course of the game. 2 resources can be used to spend for surges, and 1 resource can be used to spend to increase health. Okay, and over here are my event decks. Like I've used from Mythic, their card decks, and this is from the GM Assistant and Adventure Crafter. And so through the course of the game, if I draw a card, and some of these cards say draw an event card. Sorry to get that in focus. Well, this card represents like draw an event, and whatever kind of event. AC represents the Adventure Crafter with the magnifying glass symbol. So I would look at the Adventure Crafter card and look at the magnifying glass symbol, and that will inspire me. So, like, for example, this says beat you to it. So I could like decipher that as that an enemy has found a goal that my character has been looking for before I could find it. Just something that, and then I found these other cards from other games, like, oh, that's like from Ravenloft, that's the tarot. And just certain things I can use as randomizers. The master deck, it has some pretty cool things that can be used. I can show during the demonstration of a game turn. And over here, it's just supplies, counters. I use these dice. I think they came from HeroScape or something like that. I use these for attack and defense. A list of the characters that are in play with their special abilities written down. More dice. And that's a map that I'm working on. And I was using miniatures before, but I like using these cubes and just writing on them, so then I know what they represent. Oh yeah, the thing that's if I get to a plot progression, I look at this list and whatever is suitable for that situation, or I'll just roll to randomize whatever could happen, depending if the chaos track is in the negative, then these negative things could happen. If the chaos track is in it's positive, then these positive things could happen. I used to also have this board too, to write out what the current goals are that I need to meet. Okay, so I'll show you a demonstration of a game round, and the game system I'm going to be using is this Fantasy Path, and it's a it's an old Chaosium role-playing game from like the 70s or early 80s or somewhere like that, and it's very, very simple. It's simpler than basic D&D. It's very stripped down. So I'm just using creatures from that and some elements from the rules. This game box actually was just mostly like game dungeon pieces and stuff, but it did come with a little bit of rules. Okay, so over here, the characters that are in play, I'm just like a regular fighter class character. NPC 1 is actually a minotaur that I've befriended, and NPC 2 is a magic user. On the game board here, or the player board, I have one dice that will represent how much health I have, and my character's down pretty low right now, but I can use these fake cube pieces to increase my health as well. AD represents the attack dice, and that means like how many dice I can use during combat. And the red skulls mean the hit, and the blue shields means a defense. Zero blanks are misses. In a attacker round, if I roll a shield, that's a miss as well. In a defense round, if I rolled a skull, that's a miss. Okay, so oh yeah, and plus I use this dice just to represent who's in play at that time. And the last round, it was the Minotaur. I use these colored dice to represent the condition that the character's in. And this the blue dice represent a defensive, and the red dice will represent offensive. That means that I can increase my defense by 1. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and do it. So I'm on round 5 in the game. Oh yeah, I'll just tell you the situation too. So my main character actually was hired by this lady to hunt a bear. And things kind of got a little complicated between then because I found some thieves that were stealing from the area as well, and so I'm trying to evade them, and plus try to find this the bear's cave. I've befriended a magic user and a minotaur during the course, and we're traveling looking for it, but the thieves have been following us. So the thieves are represented by EN, meaning enemy, PC means player character 1, and NPCs, you know that. Okay, this dice represents I have to get to this location to progress the story, and I use a number here that I have to get to bring this down to 1 before I can find the cave of the bear. Okay, so let's play. So I draw a card, and this is a location interaction, something that will the location right now will influence the course of play. And this is all a lot of it is left to interpretation of how I see the game being fit. But this card doesn't activate until I roll. Like positive means yes, and a negative means no, that the card isn't activated. No. So this card doesn't come into play. I bring down the chaos track to 5. Draw another card. It's another location interaction. Just use this to I just use dice to represent, to remind myself where I'm at, because I take a lot of breaks. I only play this like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and I just leave it all laid out on my table so I can just get back to it whenever I want. So I'm going to see if that card comes into effect. Positive, yes. Chaos track goes up 1. And I look at this and I'm like, oh, how is the location going to influence the game right now? And since the chaos track isn't as positive, then it will go towards my player characters, will go to their benefit. So what I'll do is I'm going to say that the enemies can't get around some of the vegetation that's here, so that they're gonna any kind of action they have will be set back. So I'll make a note of that. Enemies set back due to current environment. Draw another card, and it's enemy number 4. Yeah, I made these cards myself, and they're just like generic. Enemy number 4, I put this to represent that enemy number 4 is in play. Yeah, the top numbers here to represent the level that character's in, and that'll come into play when I do like a skill check. I use a little cubed here to represent that character can do a range attack. So it's enemy number 4's turn, so I use these dice to represent what actions are going to take place during that enemy 4's turn. A resource, special ability, and an action. So the special abilities for the opponent would be NPC number 1. I use these to keep track of like who's in play, but it's the enemy's turn right now. And so the first action is always automatic, so that will go down to play, and the enemy gets a surge. Now these two can only be activated, so my character can activate a special ability only if this dice comes out positive, and it's blank, so it doesn't happen. Now the enemy has a chance to do another action, but it's blank, it's negative, so he can't. So the only thing he could have done this turn was to gain a surge. Draw another card, and depending on state, positive and negative, there's a potential for a surge. No, nobody gets a surge at the moment. Another surge chance. Positive, yes, and it's in positive, so my character can get a surge. Enemy number 1's turn. The enemy could get a surge. The enemy's second action could be movement or attack. And my main character, or character number NPC 1, can potentially get a resource. So since this is automatic, enemy surge increases. Yes, so I can get a resource. Now, how the resources work too. So NPCs can build these up, but only the player character in his turn. If I rolled this dice or this dice, in the player character's turn, I could take 2 of these and buy a surge, or spend them any way I want. So, player character gained a resource. It's the enemy's turn. The enemy has the potential of performing another action. And no. And it just goes on from there. Okay, so now I'm going to set up for a new round. I'm cleaning up, doing my cleanup of what I just played in the previous round. So first I'm going to change the round from 6 to 1. It's a new round. Then I roll these dice. That'll tell me what randomizing deck that I'm going to be using and what symbol for the adventure crafter if I use adventure crafter decks. That's like a little bomb. So I'll be reading whatever's on the card that is the little bomb. So it's a new scene starting at 1. New round starting at 1. Change the scene to 4. I'm going to roll my weather dice and my time of day dice. It's a sunshiny day. So the weather's pretty, it's warm. And it's daytime. I'm on Act 4. Just 2 more acts away from having to complete the game. No matter how much I tally up how many goals I've met. I don't think I've met any yet. So I'm going to see if the plot progresses by rolling this fudge die. Plus is yes, and a negative is no, and blanks are nothing. So it's a no. The plot progress doesn't go anywhere. Now I'm going to set up my decks. So I have cards that I made. These cards that I've made. Each card represents a character that's in play, from the main character to the NPCs and to all the enemies. So there should be 7 cards in that deck. But I'm going to mix them with event cards. So we're at Chaos track number 9, so that means we're going to be pulling 9 cards from my event deck. And they could be anything, things that just make complications or benefits. Just to make it feel like this is really the heart of what makes playing this differentiate from just being a board game and a numbers game to a role-playing game, because these cards will kind of trigger your imagination. And I use this just to mark where I'm at. I'll place it on a card that's in play. Okay, so first thing that happens is a possible event, and if I roll a yes, then I'm going to be drawing from the adventure crafter deck. No, so that card's a dud. And it's the main player's turn. Roll the action dice. For his first guaranteed turn, he's going to be walking, or he has the walking symbol on the dice, which represents any kind of action, like from fighting to travel, whatever. The enemy has got the brain side of die, which is like they'll get a surge if that dice is triggered. And then I got the main character's got the brain symbol too, which will represent a source being gained, or I can sell that source or whatever, or resource. Okay, so I'm going to attack. I'm going to switch over to this camera. So this is the map area, all the characters that are in play. This log represents a goal, so I have to make it to this log and clear that. So his main character is he's facing enemy 3. They're face to face, so they can have a melee. Anybody else, like if I wanted the NPC 1 to attack an enemy 4, then I would have to roll a 6-sided die. I'll just show for an example. 2, so we have to go 1, 2. He hasn't made it to that because every movement of that cube is a point off of a roll of the die. So player character 1 is going to attack enemy 3. See if that works. So the main character's got 2 attack dice to start with. I'm going to spend 2 of my surges to get 2 more attack dice. Then I'm going to draw from the combat deck. It says plus 3 attack dice for the next attack. So I'm going to use this red die and put it at 3 and put it in my condition. Oh, and I forgot, I got that's an old situation. I was trapped before, but the character from it was saved from the last round. Okay, so I can only use 4 attack dice, and I need to roll skulls or swords. 1 sword, 1 skull. That means 2 potential hits, but enemy 3, check its defense dice, and it's 3. Does he spend any surges? Yes, so he uses his last surge and it adds another die to the pool. And he needs to roll shields. Got 2 shields, so out of 4 rolls. So that means I blocked my main character's attack. Now it's the enemy's turn. He has the potential of gaining a resource. No, he doesn't. And I moved the chaos track marker -1 because it's a no. Anytime I roll for a yes or no question, I use this dice, and anytime and every time it will increase or decrease the chaos track depending on the roll. So now what am I asking? Oh, see if I can like open. Yeah, he's going to see if we can get a surge. Nope. For me, for the main character, can I get a resource? No. Okay, that's one character's turn's play. So this is the map area, all the characters that are in play. This log represents a goal, so I have to make it to this log and clear that. So as the main character, he's facing enemy 3. They're face to face, so they can have a melee. Anybody else, like if I wanted the NPC 1 to attack an enemy 4, then I would have to roll a 6-sided die. I'll just show it for an example. 2, so we have to go 1, 2. He hasn't made it to that because every movement of that cube is a point off of a roll of the die. So player character 1 is going to attack enemy 3. See if that works. So So my magic user rolled an action. It's not a special ability, so it's just an attack. A special ability would be for the magic user to perform a magic uh, a magic spell. So this magic user, she's just going to attack the closest enemy with her dagger. She's NPC 2 and she's in front of NPC 4. So my combat works like I'll make a roll, and each movement, so say I rolled a 1, so, or try something larger, 2. So my character could move 1, 2 like that, but that would be all its actions. Since she's already facing this enemy, she's just going to go straight to the attack. And the attack is, so I look at her attack dice. She's got 3, so she starts with 3 attack dice. Does she spend the surge? And I use this dice. Like, for my playing character, I would just go ahead and use the surge. I make the choice, but for non-playing characters and for enemies, I use this dice to represent if they spend their surges or not. And she does. She uses this surge to increase her chances of hitting. And also, just to add more variety to the game, I made this deck of cards, and it's the solo gaming combat deck, and it just adds to the oops, it just adds to the element of the game. So this I'm going to imagine, like, since she can use another attack dice, she adds another attack dice to her pool. And I'm just going to, like, this card represents she has more of a thrust or something to her attack. So I roll the dice, and any reds or swords are a hit. The attacker has 2 hits, but the defending character, enemy 4, their defense is 1, so they start with 1 dice. Does that enemy use any of its surge to help increase its pool? Yes. She spends 2, so she gets 2 more dice added to her defense. She's got 1 shield, so she was able to block 1 hit. She takes a hit, though, which will increase her health by 1. And that's how combat works. So just, it's not an effect right now in the game, but just to show, say, this magic user was going to perform a spell. She wanted to, say, like, charm the enemy. So I look at the chaos. So to determine how difficult the skill check is going to be, I look at the chaos track. It's at 7. So the more dice, the better. And I'm going to use all 6-sided white dice. 7 white. But her skill is 6 green. So I can add 6 green dice. So her chances are really good. So how this works is that any 6 rolled is a success, but a 1 rolled will negate that success, but only for matching colors. Like, say I rolled a 6 white, but I rolled a 1 white, that would negate it. I rolled a 6, but there's no, but I have a 1 green, so that negates that. Any 6s left over would be the skill check would go forth, but there's no 6s, so she failed her skill check. So yeah, like I mean, it seems kind of complicated. Hopefully that shows you a good example of how I'm going about playing these role-playing games. Like I can use any kind of system and make tweaks and to adjust it to this kind of system, and just use my books for just inspiration and for story ideas to develop like what the plot progs can be and what my goals can be. Um, yeah, any questions? Or I know I'm sorry I don't really do these videos too much, and I know my speech and quality of expressing how I go about things, it doesn't come out that coherent. But if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll get to them. Okay, thanks a lot.